Okay, you know how it is in the K-pop world, right? Fans notice everything. And I mean everything. So when a rumor starts to bubble up, it can spread like absolute wildfire. And the latest one? Well, it involves two of the industry's biggest stars, connecting them in a way that has the entire internet talking. So let's get right into it.
So, what's the big question on everyone's mind? It really all boils down to this. Could two of the absolute biggest idols on the entire planet secretly be dating?
So who are we talking about here? Well, on one side, you've got Jungkook, the golden maknae of, the global phenomenon that is BTS. And on the other, we've got Winter, the powerhouse vocalist from the chart-destroying group aespa. We're talking two massive stars from two different companies who are now caught right in the middle of the internet's latest obsession.
All right, so how on earth did this rumor even get started? Let's do this. We're going to open up the case file, break down the so-called evidence that's fueling this whole thing, and see exactly why everyone is so convinced.
This whole massive theory really just hangs on two key things. Just two separate events that, once fans started piecing them together, created a story that was just, well, it was too compelling to ignore. All right, first up, let's get into the first piece of this puzzle. We're going to call it Exhibit A, the concert. So, the basic fact here, it's simple, and no one's really debating it. Jungkook was spotted, totally recognized by fans, even though he was trying to be low-key, in the audience at an aespa concert in Seoul. Now, I know what you might be thinking. An idol at another idol's concert? Big deal, right? And you know what? Normally, yeah, you'd be right. But for this one, oh, the context is everything. It's what makes this so significant. Okay, so the timing here is absolutely crucial. This wasn't just any old concert. This was aespa's big encore show back in March of 2025. But here's the kicker. Jungkook was on active military duty at the time. He literally used a rare, super short military leave to go to this show. And for fans, that's huge. A soldier using that precious personal time to go to another group's concert, it just felt like a really big deal, a very deliberate choice. So that concert visit? That definitely planted a seed. But it was the next piece of so-called evidence that really made this whole thing explode. So let's move on to Exhibit B, the tattoos. And this is the part of the story that has completely reignited the whole conversation. The claim, and it's all over the internet, is that Jungkook and Winter have matching tattoos. So where did this come from? Well, all this speculation just went into overdrive after a new photo of Jungkook dropped, right after he was discharged from the military. And you know what happened next? Online detectives were all over it, zooming in, comparing his new ink to Winter's, and they were absolutely convinced they'd found a match. For them, this was fresh, concrete proof of a secret connection. So you've got the concert visit, right? And then you have the alleged matching tattoos. On their own, they're just kind of interesting little details. But the real story here is how the internet took those two things and wove them together into this full-blown romance narrative. And this is a perfect example of how these online rumors just take on a life of their own. That old news about Jungkook at the concert, suddenly it came roaring back. Only this time, people were seeing it through a totally new lens, the lens of the tattoo rumor, and that gave it this powerful new meaning. I mean, the reactions online really tell you everything you need to know. On one super viral forum post, a netizen basically summed up how a lot of people were feeling. They wrote, "If he came to the concert while on military leave, that's real love." And that comment just perfectly captures that whole romantic interpretation. And for a lot of people, the debate is just over. They're way past speculating. They're fully on board with comments like, "Just date publicly already," flooding all the forums. It just goes to show you how convinced a huge chunk of the fan base really is. And then you get this take, which adds this whole other layer of drama to it. He's got guts. I guess he thought he wouldn't get caught. See, this view frames the whole concert thing not just as romantic, but as this daring, super risky move, which of course only makes the story more exciting. So look, to put it simply, you take the really unusual concert visit, you add in the unconfirmed, and that's an important word, unconfirmed tattoo claims, and what do you get? You get a story. And for a ton of people online, that story points to only one possible conclusion, that Jungkook and Winter are secretly dating. But in the end, whether this rumor is true or not, The story of how it all came together, from people analyzing photos, connecting timelines, and just intense speculation, it brings up a much bigger question, one that goes way beyond these two idols. In this incredibly passionate world of K-pop, where do we draw the line? When does fun fan detective work stop, and when does it become a total invasion of privacy? That's definitely something to think about.